Hi everybody, it's Brad. In today's Floriani Club, we're going to learn how to digitize letters to use with Puffy Foam. Puffy Foam allows your letters to sit above the fabric, and they're kind of squishy. You see it on a lot of like baseball hats, with sports logos and such. It looks really stylish, and it kind of looks professional. It's, however, not easy to work with Puffy Foam unless you know how to change the settings of your letters to make it so that it's right for Puffy Foam. Because the way the Puffy Foam works is you sew the embroidery out on top of the foam and then rip it away at the end. And if it hasn't been cut right, and if your density isn't high enough, then it just ends up not looking very well. So I'm going to show you how to get your lettering to look nice with Puffy Foam. So first thing we're going to do is open up our Floriani Total Control software. I'm going to open mine up here, and then once it loads up on my Floriani today here, we're going to go to create a new design. Okay, so here we go. We've got a new design page here, and well, basically all we have to do is bring in some lettering. So the lettering tool is up in the upper left hand corner. It looks like a large capital letter T. It just says text tool if you hover over it. So we're going to left click on that, and our cursor becomes this little capital letter A, and we're going to left click anywhere in the design field. It really doesn't matter where. We're just going to click anywhere, and now under my properties menu I want to go in and choose what font I'm going to use. This one here, Bookman, would work just fine, but really most of the fonts that are built into the software will work for this technique. So you can scroll through and find one that you like. Remember, once you select one, you can just hit the up and down arrows on your keyboard, and it'll cycle through previews. Say I want to do this felt tip. I think this would look nice puffed up with some Puffy Foam. So once you find the font that's right for you, like I said, I'll use this felt tip here. We're going to just type in whatever we want to say. Puffy Foam, how creative of me. I'm going to hit apply. Okay, so now we've got my lettering is in place, and I could take this and save it and sew it out on something, and it would sew out just fine, these letters. But if I want to use Puffy Foam and I use the default settings, what's going to happen is I'll actually be able to see right to my foam through the stitches in here because they're just not dense enough to do this. So what we have to do is change our density settings, and then we also have to go in and work with our underlay settings to get this to look right with the Puffy Foam. So on this first tab in the properties menu, this is where we can put in all the properties of our letters, but it doesn't actually let us change the settings for the stitching, so we have to get into more of the menus here. So if we go to the next tab over here, it looks like a little orange blob. We're going to left click on that. We're going to leave the fill type on standard. We're going to leave the pattern on satin. That's what we want. And we're going to leave our stitch length at 3.5. That's fine too. The density, though, 0.5 is too loose. So we're going to change this number from 0.5 all the way down to 0.2. And we'll hit apply. And immediately you see how much bolder this becomes. It's increased the density by a lot. But that's what we wanted. We wanted to go to a much more dense stitch, so there you have it. It's much denser now. That's the primary thing that you need to know to do when you are making letters with this Puffy Foam stuff. Alright, so now we also have to go in and adjust our underlay. Okay, so the way you do that is under the next tab over is run, and then the next tab under that is underlay, and it's got like a blue page peeling up to reveal an orange page underneath. That's what the icon looks like. We're going to left click on that, and we can see that the default setting for this is parallel, and that's not what we want. We want to turn that off, so we're going to click on the parallel so that it goes away, and then we're actually going to choose zigzag as our underlay, and we're going to change our running stitch length, or our stitch length. Yeah, it's under the one that just says stitch length. We're going to change that to say 1.8 and hit apply. Okay, so we've just added in our underlay, and what this zigzag underlay is going to do is it's actually going to help to cut the Puffy Foam, as well as having the the puffy foam cut out by just the density of the stitching. Okay, so that in a nutshell is the basic easy way to do it. Now there are improvements that we can make to this that are going to make it sew out a little bit nicer, so we're going to go and do those next. But you could go and sew it out just like this and it would look okay. It's not going to cut the puffy foam out perfectly all around this whole thing, and I'm going to zoom in on one of these letters and show you why. But if you're not comfortable with putting in stitches yourself, you can do it right like this. It's not going to look as professional, but it will definitely work. So what we're going to do is I'm going to go in and zoom in on one part of this P here. I'm just using my mouse wheel to scroll in, and look at the top. Alright, so the way this works, the stitching is going stitch, 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 and the needle is actually perforating all along the side here and all along the side here, and it's perforating all along the side here. But look where it's not perforating. It's not perforating here. This whole area, there's not going to be any perforation. So what we'll end up with is a ripped bit of puffy foam sticking out the top here. And that doesn't look professional. So what we have to do is add in a small zigzag into here. And there's a few ways to do this. I'm going to show you a few different ways. And I think that the easiest way is to just draw it in yourself. But I'm going to show you two ways to do it. So the first way is you go to this stitch right here, the manual path stitch. Okay, and what this is everywhere that you click is going to be a needle drop. And what we want is, so I've clicked on it, my cursor becomes a little crosshair. I'm just going to go right at the end here and just go boom, 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 boom. I'm just making a zigzag. It doesn't have to be perfectly even. Nobody is even going to see this stitch really. Okay, this is going to be teeny, teeny, tiny, but it's going to cut out with these little perforations. It's going to cut out my puffy foam. Now you're going to end up with jump stitches if you do this, okay, and it's fine. It's just the way that it is when you're digitizing with the manual tool. So we want to look for all the other ends that are like this. There's one down here. So this part of it is time consuming, but if you want it to look good, well, you want it to look as good as it can, this is what you have to do. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, just like that. That's all it takes. You want to look for any areas that aren't getting cut, anything that's got like a flat line here. Boom, 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 boom. Okay? And that's going to cut out my puffy foam for me. So anywhere that you see that, that's what you're going to do. Now here, this is going to cut out just fine. Okay, this P, this part of the P is fine. I don't need to do that. But up here, the top of my U, that's going to need it. Up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. Doesn't have to be perfect. Like I said, nobody's really going to see this unless they look really close. And if somebody comes up and looks really close at your stuff, tell them to buzz off. Just like that. Oh, I really messed up that one. It looks terrible. Alright, I can't do it. It wouldn't really make a big difference, but I just can't. I can't be doing that. Alright, so we're just keeping on, and so on and so forth. Okay, so you would do that here, and here, and here, and here, and here, and here, and here. All around, anywhere that there's this flat edge, you would be going and putting those stitches in, and that's going to make it so that it cuts it out evenly. Now, I promised you another way to do it, and there is. So if you go to your steel path up here, left click on steel path, and I'm going to go, or it could be style, I don't know how to pronounce that word, but it's this one here. It looks like a fuzzy worm, and if you hover your mouse over it, S-T-E-I-L, steel, style. Nobody ever told me the right way to say that. And you're just going to click and drag, or not click and drag, jeez. You left click once, and then left click again where you want it to stop, and then you right click, and that puts it in. But look, it's enormous. This is way, way, way too wide. We need to set this width down to something ridiculously small, like 0.3. It won't even let me do it. It won't even let me do it that narrow. Oh wait, here we go. I didn't have it selected. Let's see. 0.3. Apply. There we go. But see, there you have to go in and change settings, and that's the stitch length isn't long enough, so we'd have to change the density of it. Say change the steel density to 0.2, and apply. Yeah, I mean, it's just so much more work to do it that way, even though it's using an automatic tool. And you can see that way it does get that perfect line in there. Let's look at it in 3D. Yeah, see, that's exactly what we're looking for. But you can really just draw this in. Like, I could draw this exact same thing in using my manual tool by clicking here and 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 here, and it would be the same thing. So it's just faster to use the manual tool, I think. So that is what you have to do to make decent looking Puffy Foam letters. Now, what if I didn't want to use the letters that are built into the program? I want to use some TrueType letters instead, ones that I have on my computer. Well, you can do that, and there's a few ways you can do it. The easiest way would be to take the letters and make them outlines. Okay? So instead of having filled in letters, to have them be an outline. And the reason for that is when you bring in a TrueType font, it comes in as an outline. Let me show you what I mean by that. I just deleted this, I highlighted it and hit the delete key. I'm going to now go up to File and Import TT Text. Okay, that's how you get to your TrueType fonts. So I left click on that and I just go and pick what font I want. So you just pick a font. I'm going to do something with big outlines like Bauhaus here. Type in what I want to say and hit OK. So this is a TrueType font that's built into my computer. Okay, and it's just an outline. So I can make it as big or as small as I want. It's just an outline right now. It's not stitches. It's not anything. It's just outlines that I can then go and change into a stitch type. Now, if I wanted to change these into a satin stitch, I would have to go in and manually tell it what stitch direction to make it the whole way. If I want it to be a satin fill anyway, like those other letters were. And that's a bit more complicated than I really wanted to get into in this video. But if you want to have this with a puffy outline, then that is easy. And you could even do this and have the puffy outline be an applique and hold down some fabric. So that's cool too. But so the way you would do this, you need to change all these letters from being an outline into a type of stitch. And the type of stitch we need it to be is that style satin stitch again. So we're going to make sure we have all our letters highlighted. If we don't, we're going to hit Control A. Control A selects them all. And then we right click. We move our mouse over one of the lines. And see how when I move over one of the lines, my mouse becomes a hand? We want our mouse to be a hand. Right click. Convert to style. Boom. It remembers my properties from before. So this is it remembers that I wanted my style paths to be 3 millimeters wide, which is way narrower than we need it to be. So yours is probably not gonna be that. But we want our stitch width to be around 3 millimeters and hit apply here. Okay, so 3 millimeters. And then we need our steel density. We're going to change that to 0.2. Hit apply. There we go, nice and dense. Now, what other changes do we need to make? The underlay. The underlay. If you said underlay, you were right. Okay, so we go to the underlay, which is the next tab over. And we're going to change it from parallel to zigzag. We're going to change our stitch length to 1.8. And leave everything else the same and hit apply. Okay. And now... you know, the other thing, I didn't really talk about this, but you can actually change your pull compensation a little bit for Puffy Foam too. So we can actually take this and change our pull comp. I found that it didn't really seem to make that much difference. I was reading a tutorial on doing this before I made this video, and the tutorial said to change your pull compensation. I didn't find any difference when I was sewing stuff out. But yeah, you can, if you want, you can change your pull compensation here. Change this to absolute, and then change the absolute number to like 0.3. Hit apply. So yeah, that makes your stitches a little bit wider, which I guess I could see why it would help. I didn't notice any difference personally when I was sewing them out. So anyway, that's it. We can take this and save it. Just go to File, Save As, save it to a flash drive. Make sure you save it as a PES file, unless you use some other, weird barbarian style sewing machine. Genomes, whatever, would be a JEF. Brother, VP3, or not Brother. Brother would be PES also. FOF would be VP3, Viking VP3. Whatever else you use your format and save it. And then you go. So how this works is you put the Puffy Foam down, and then just sew it out and then rip it off. That's it. Couldn't be easier. You heard me earlier mention that you could use this as an applique to hold down applique fabric, and you can. All you would have to do is, before we turn this into a satin stitch, what we would have wanted to do is, well, I guess the best way would have been to turn it into an applique. In fact, we could do it with the applique stitch fabric. That would be cool. I never thought of that. All right, let's try this again. We're going to bring in some new letters. Import TT text. I'm going to pick another font. Maybe I'll do that Keep on Truckin' font. I like it. Here we go. By the way, if you're looking for a particular font, you can go in here and just type in the first letter, and it'll go right to that letter. Keep on Truckin'. And we're going to change it to Puffy. Say OK. Okay, so we've got our letters. I'll make them big. You can set them to whatever size you want, basically, whatever fits your hoop. Okay, so I've got my letters. I'm going to right-click, and this time, instead of converting them to a steel, I'm going to change it to an applique stitch. Maybe I'll use some of that velvety applique stitch fabric. That would be cool. We'll see. Change it to applique stitch and see what it does. Yeah. Yeah, that might work. Okay, so we go in and we can change our density here on the properties menu to 2. I'll leave my width the way that it is. Inset, we'll leave all that alone. We want to have, we can leave our placement line. We should just be able to leave all that alone. Under, oh, you know what it doesn't let us do is the underlay. Doesn't let us change the underlay. I don't know whether this would still work or not. Let me go try and sew this out, and I'll find out. So it does work. It's not. It would be ideal if we were able to adjust the underlay, but I just sewed it out, and it looks pretty nice. And I'll show you guys my sew out in class tomorrow. But it's just another way you can use the Puffy Foam, to kind of give a little bit of a oomph to your applique. And with the applique stitch stuff, you just rip the applique fabric right off, so it's nice not to have to trim. So anyway, that's Puffy Foam. We're going to do some more stuff in class, but this is it for the video. So I hope you guys enjoy it, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks.